Don't you want it? 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 You lose your little mind. 5, 10.
Starting forward.
Welcome to the Deadlights podcast.
Hi.
Hi, I'm your host, Sam Johnston.
And I'm Leslie, bringing you your weekly dose of horror. Yay!
Yay!
And today we have...
Michael!
Yes!
Me, I'm Michael.
That's Michael.
Happy to be here.
Yes, welcome. So, Michael and I met actually in film school. I remember, I think the first time I met you was at the tour.
It was the first day.
It was like the first day.
We toured the school together.
Yes.
And so, yeah, you're the first person I knew in Chicago. Like,
Wow!
Because you had like come
Person I
straight
met.
from the train.
yeah. I got there late, and so I ran from the train station to the school, and then I got there like out of breath, and they're like, I was like, where do I go? And they're like, just join that group over there. And it was Sam. I was like, hey guys.
That sounds
It was
like the beginning of like a movie.
It was the beginning of movie school.
Yeah.
Yes, it
Movie
was.
school.
Movie school.
What if it was actually called movie school?
Might as well have been. I've been wanting you to come on the podcast for a while, but I didn't realize that you were a huge Hitchcock fan when I asked you to be on this one specifically.
Oh yeah, I like Hitchcock.
Yeah?
I think it's stuff's good because like it's just so well thought out. Like every single frame.
Oh, yeah.
Is just like he's so meticulous about everything. So
And I have heard of Alfred Hitchcock, obviously, throughout my like theater classes. And I actually took a film class as well for like my general studies. But I had never seen any of his movies. So I'm excited to talk about this one specifically.
Yes.
Yeah, it was
And the
good.
one that we just watched was
Oh yeah, what did we watch?
Rear Window
Rear
from
Window.
1954, directed by Alfred Hitchcock, written by John Michael Hayes. A wheelchair-bound photographer spies on his neighbors from his Greenwich Village courtyard apartment window and becomes convinced one of them has committed murder, despite the skepticism of his fashion model girlfriend. You said it at the beginning, right when we started the movie, that first of all, this whole set was just built for this movie, which it does feel like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and the night, like the shots of it at night were so perfect. Of when it was like all orange on the buildings, it just totally felt like a painting, but still real at the same time.
Yeah.
Like those sets are massive, and
It goes, and I think it kind of goes to what you were talking about with Hitchcock of how he's so meticulous. He now has an entire apartment complex that he can control every light, every detail of this massive set. I mean, as a filmmaker, that's like a dream. You know,
Yeah.
you have
Yeah.
this huge space to play with and can control every part of it. The colors, where people are. The best part about this movie, though, is we're seeing everything from one perspective. We never, until
Step
the
into
very
the other.
end, we never leave his apartment.
yeah,
So you're only seeing things from a certain way.
And we still kind of are, even if we have shifted at least the perspective within the space in which we've been viewing the whole area.
yeah. Not till the
But-
very end when he falls off do you
Yeah.
actually like
Oh,
see
yeah.
his side of the apartment.
Exactly.
The rest is just shooting at the other
Yeah.
apartment. the
And
whole
I love
time.
the layering too of just like we have people walking in the alleyway, we have people out in the street, we have people in the restaurant across the apartment building.
And everything is like everything's obscured a little bit because you have to like poke your head around a corner or like squint more to see like through that window. Everything, no matter what you're watching, is obscured. The view is obscured. And that's pretty much what this movie is kind of talking about, is looking at things through skewed perspectives. Yes, obviously Jimmy Stewart is looking at all these different lives through their windows and all that kind of stuff. But then we come into his own apartment. He's looking at Grace Kelly from a skewed perspective too. He has these like hang-ups about their relationship and the relationships that he has with almost all the characters that he interacts with that are a little skewed. And at the beginning of the movie, I don't really like him, to be
No.
honest.
Not at all.
Because is very stubborn in those kind of like skewed views.
And I think he kind of still is at the end.
He's
Yeah.
so bitter about his situation too.
Oh,
He
yeah.
just treats everybody like crap the whole time.
he's pissed.
He is.
He's super pissed. Well, I guess from the top,
From the top,
From
make
the top.
it drop.
it fittingly so we start with opening curtains of this window that we're going to be watching the entire movie. It's like a curtain to a play opening
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
as the credits are going.
His movies do feel very theatrical.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I mean, I know a style that we had during that time, but it's beautiful. Like, I could see this as a play and also as the movie.
Oh yeah.
It's wonderful.
Back then, yeah, it was more like it was such more of a theater production that you're capturing on camera, and there were like lots of movements like on wheels and stuff, you
Yep.
know, and the blocking was so important back then. And this one's weird because it's like you don't get that movement. It's almost like a crane. It's like you're having to look through a window the whole time, but you're still being able to like move down these apartments instead of being so close and like intimate with people like they do like during that time period. I think it's like just all the camera movements it's so much different than it is today. It's like more handheld.
Yeah.
and stuff,
Yeah.
Like
you know?
intense close up. This was all about distance. This was all about being far
Yeah.
away from things. And he is, it's kind of like we're stepping out of even the movie because his movie is what he's watching through the windows. And our movie is us watching him watch people through the window. So we're almost in the same perspective that he is. We're trapped in the apartment the whole time with him, and we're seeing everything just played out through these three windows. So we're immediately set from the top of this movie. We are set in
It's
this viewing place.
It's claustrophobic. Like
It's
after
claustrophobic.
after like an hour, you're just like, oh, you
You're
really
cooped up.
Get outta
you
here.
don't leave
Yeah.
the apartment either.
you feel his
He
cooped
barely
upness.
even, he's in a wheelchair and he rarely like moves around his space in the fucking wheelchair. Like, move, dude. You're just literally there. That's why
And-
you're so miserable.
He's in every scene, I think. Like
I think so.
Yeah.
there's not a scene that he's not in the
Because
whole
we,
entire time.
the entire time we're in his apartment.
Mhm.
The whole time. And what's nice about the beginning of this movie, I think this movie, I never felt like things dragged, but I felt like the beginning, it was nice that they were starting off kind of slow, so we get familiar with the
The
apartment
space.
complex.
'Cause it's
because
huge.
there's a lot of people going in there. We have
Yeah.
multiple stories going on through this whole movie that he's watching. He's got like these different channels almost that he's like flipping
Yeah.
through.
Totally.
We got, the piano player who is like trying to finish the song and he's struggling to write a song. We got the couple that is sleeping on their balcony because it's so hot. We got the dancer who is, it seems like she's trying to come up in the dance world. She's like schmoozing with these execs and trying to meet people and trying to move her career as a dancer. We have a newlywed couple going on. We have this lonely woman story that's going on.
Suicidal woman.
Suicide, yeah, that turns super
Oh,
dark. We have
oh.
a sculptor, an artist woman that lives next to her, and then we have a man and a woman, and the woman is bedridden and sick, and he has to take care of her through like almost one camera motion
Mhm.
of just going around the entire complex. We get the beginning of all these stories.
It's his newsfeed every morning, you know, like him checking on his friends, like seeing their stories every morning. Oh, what did they do yesterday?
Yeah.
But then
What did they do
another thing that Alfred like really does a really good job setting up is just the atmosphere. Literally just weather, and it's always just kind of like hot,
Mhm.
you know? So we enter with his sweaty forehead, and then we go about seeing how everybody else is trying to take care of themselves during this
You see
like
the
heat
thermostat,
wave. Yeah,
yeah.
we see the thermostat. We see the kids playing with the fire hydrant outside. And he did that very well also for what was the other Alfred? Psycho.
Yeah.
For Psycho.
That was another theme. It was really hot. People kept commenting
They
on
were
how
in
hot it was.
they were in Phoenix, Arizona, or
Yeah.
Tucson, Arizona.
Mhm.
And we entered through a window. Just
At
as,
the beginning of that movie. You're
Yeah.
right.
It's
Yeah,
wonderful.
that's a theme that they keep going back to is it's heating up. And they talk about it a little later too, it's getting hotter. And I always think if it is hotter, people go crazier.
Mhm.
Easy. So that kind of adds to the paranoia of the movie. Because that's the whole thing of the whole movie is what he's seeing what he thinks he's seeing, or is it just his paranoia, him putting
Or
these
is he
things?
just bored?
Yeah,
Is he just bored?
just
Is he
bored.
just going like cabin fever?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Because we then kind of, once we come into his apartment, we establish first of all that he's got a broken leg. He's in a wheelchair.
He realized the bones of LB. What's his last name?
Yeah,
LB something.
yeah. It was like he's accepted his death. Like he's really pissed off that he's there. And we go over to his photographs, and this is kind of where we establish that he's a photographer, and all of his photographs have to do with like explosions,
Danger.
death, car crashes.
Yeah.
He's like obsessed with watching disasters, like tragedies. Like that's all of his photography.
Because he's
Yeah.
a man.
He's front lines.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's hardcore. He even gives like a speech about it.
Yes.
To her, just like he's willing to do anything for a good photograph. You know.
I've seen the world. I've been
Yeah.
to multiple places. What have you done? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
He has
Yeah,
like,
well, like he knows that she's comfortable living with this kind of like facade of just like pretty clothes and
Mhm.
wonderful meals and meeting people. And he's like, I'm not about that.
I want to get down and
I
dirty.
can't do that
Yeah.
with my combat boots.
Yeah.
They're total opposites for sure. She's
Yeah.
materialistic. He's not. He's very simple. Like his apartment's pretty like blank. He's
Mhm.
like happy at really simple meals. He's just got like, oh, eggs and toast. He's like, yes. And
Okay,
then like
thank you.
he's eating like dry bologna sandwiches.
Yeah.
What? With a cup of milk.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a simple man. He's a simple. Well, I mean, he thinks that he's a simple man, and that he wants to find someone who is also a simple person, and he's just he's having a lot of doubts about the relationship that he's in, because we do see that as we go across this table, we see pictures of Grace Kelly, Lisa, right,
Mhm.
on his table too, and that's his girlfriend.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah. Girlfriend, but he's not sure if he wants to marry her.
Yes, because I think one of the first scenes is the nurse coming into his apartment, taking care of him. They're talking about. She actually immediately comments of him looking out the window, because he's
Yeah.
like looking around, whatever, and then she comes in and immediately calls him a peeping tom. And I wrote down the line. She says, "Race of peeping toms. People should get out and look into their own windows for a change."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've turned into a race of peeping toms.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
like, this nurse character is very much against him engaging in this behavior.
He's looking out, like he's not looking in at what's in front of him. He's always just like, oh, like that's the whole struggle he has, is he's just like seeing what the other options are, what's
Yeah.
more interesting, what's like beyond this like simple relationship.
Yeah, because
here.
he is looking at every single person's life and kind of being like, oh, wow, like, kind of like, oh, that's nice.
Are their lives more
Yeah.
interesting than mine?
Than
Are their
mine.
relationships more interesting than mine?
Yeah, because, I mean, he's following these, he's taking notes on all these people's journeys. He's following these people. And I think you're right, Michael. Like, he is always looking through the camera lens at other
Yeah.
people, taking pictures of other things, and no one's ever flipping the camera on himself to say, like, okay, what is it, like, that you need to work on as a person? It's like that whole thing of, like, can't see the forest through the trees. He's not noticing the things that are actually good in his life because he only has this narrow scope through his camera lens.
And that to add to that, he thinks he's the dangerous person because he's going out and, photographing these dangerous moments. He thinks he's them who's driving that car that hit him or that are exploding this shit or whatever. And he's like, oh, I'm this tough man because I'm able to capture these. And it's like, but you are not that
But you're
person.
not that person. Yeah.
He's just living vicariously through, like he is right now.
Yeah.
He's not much different, I guess, in how he's acting, even though his leg is broken. He's still living through these people's lives as he's watching them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what the nurse is calling him on in this scene. She
says it how it is.
yeah, she's great. She's
Yeah.
really cool. Like,
Yeah.
she's just like, you're an idiot. Like, she's perfect. She loves you. She's like madly in love. Like, why wouldn't? And he's like, she's too perfect. She's too beautiful. She's too rich. She's too of everything but what I want. He's like asking for like a person that doesn't exist.
He wants to marry somebody who is like him. He wants to take somebody along who is going to be in these like muddy situations with him, and he just doesn't think she will.
No. Because we do soon meet her, because the nurse leaves, and then he, like, goes to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
the first shot is, like, them just...
Her, like,
face to face.
Yeah, him waking up, and her face is coming, like, towards the camera, into...
Yeah, it's like a POV right on her, and then they're, like, just, like, talking. It's, like,
Super close.
super intimate.
Yeah. And she's infatuated with him. I think they established that pretty well. She's definitely materialistic because she's talking about her day, the fashion, whatever. I'm not even sure what her job is. Oh, no, she's a fashion model, right. So she's talking about her jobs, who wore what dress, who was best dressed. So she's definitely materialistic, but she's also doing things to make him feel comfortable. Like she gets him champagne, and she
buys him a nice dinner. She is bringing the restaurant to him.
Yes.
Because she wants to have a date, and she's providing all of this with her own money because she's a working woman. Mm-hmm. So she really doesn't need him. She just loves him.
Yeah.
And
she's like, and the only way that she knows how to express her love is through materials, because that's how we've kind of established.
But also, look at his house. She doesn't care that he lives there.
True.
She's like, if it takes me, or if it takes you to look at me and take me, what am I saying? I need to move here for you to pay attention to me. And she was willing to do that.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't, like, in that sense, she's like, I am willing, yes, this is my life and this is my career. And I like it. I like dressing nice. You don't need to.
But it's like, at first, it's like, you kind of think, what I thought was like, oh, she's doing this, like, really nice thing for him, and he's being kind of bitter. And then after they start eating, I feel like you kind of see her incentive, though, where she was like, isn't it nice being here? You don't want to travel. It's like, don't you want to just, like...
Oh, right.
Like, she just wants him to, like, settle down and live there and just be a photographer in New York. And so it's like, kind of like, oh, and then he gets, like... And then she ends up leaving, right? Like, they just like, argue. And
because they couldn't settle on they couldn't settle on anything. He wants to go because he's a traveling photographer, and she wants him to essentially stay in New York and be a fashion photographer, which he's like, I have no interest in that.
She wants her, like, the fashion to be significant. She tries to, like, give significance to, like, talks about the dresses he wore and stuff like that, and he doesn't care at all. And he just wants, like, what he's talking about to be significant.
Yes.
And really, like, he takes no, like, interest in her, or, like, what she's talking about until she takes interest in what he's talking, like, what he's doing. Which is kind of weird. Like, I think that's, like, my one hang-up was, like, why does she love this guy? Like, you have no, like, we didn't get any context of, like, how they met.
Yeah.
Or, like, why does she love this guy who is, like, actually, like, kind of a jerk. Like, first half of the movie, he's, like, kind of a big jerk.
He mocks her a lot.
And, yeah.
Like, stop talking all this nonsense. And all,
like,
he tells her to shut up at one point.
Tells her to shut up. Yeah. Like, what, your job is stupid. It's like, what I do is so much more real.
It's significant.
Like,
like, me traveling around and going to all these countries and being around danger is so much more significant.
I'm capturing the truth.
Also, didn't he say, like, well, I don't think you can come with me, essentially, because you are not ready to get down and dirty. You wouldn't eat the food that, sometimes is provided in these, like, cultures and stuff.
It's not lobster dinners.
Yeah.
It's like half of a fish's head and brains and stuff. And it's like, okay, cool.
Like, get off your high horse, dude. Yeah, you're right. Like, he sucks during this whole first part.
He's full of himself.
He's definitely full of himself.
That's what's weird about, like, her arc in a way, where it's like, she's like trying, it's like her like purpose almost is just to, like, win him over the whole time. And it's like not until, like, she does something dangerous and he gets to see it, then he's like, oh, I'm in love with this person. It's
Yeah.
like, you know, like the same way he sees, like, he goes to dangerous situations. It's like not until he gets to witness it, then he falls in love with her.
Oh, yikes,
Um,
because that's not him. It's somebody else doing
It's
it.
Yeah.
somebody else doing it. He's never in danger. Like, she actually goes and puts herself in a room with, like, a killer.
Yeah.
And,
And almost gets arrested.
yeah, like, does get
It
arrested.
does get arrested, yeah.
Oh,
And,
so that
Like,
moment
she risks, like, everything, you know?
Oh,
like,
right, she did. She got bailed out. Yes, that's true.
Absolutely. Because also she, like we said, he's never leaves this room. So he never, she's doing the running around, like delivering that letter and like
The digging.
the
Yeah.
digging
Yeah,
and
the
all this
digging
stuff.
up.
Like she's his legs during this whole thing. She's doing all the hard work
She
here.
breaks into the apartment, you know? Like,
Yeah.
she could have fallen, like, just, like,
With
crawling
those
on the side of the
heels,
building
yeah.
and stuff. Like,
Well, and then on top of the fact that they're like climbing into a suspected killer's apartment and
Yeah.
you could be trapped there with a killer. Yeah, she's trying really, really hard. And even at the end, like, how much of him has changed in this movie?
None. He
None.
just broke another leg.
He broke
Yeah.
another leg.
it's like, yeah, it's like,
He's going to be an asshole for another year in this apartment.
it's like he didn't, it was like, yeah, it's like he didn't come full scope as to, like, why he appreciates what he has in front of him.
Yeah.
It was kind of just like, he gets turned on by this, like, by her putting herself in danger. And
Yeah.
you're just like, okay, I guess.
Yeah.
Like,
She
Yeah.
even changed to
That's-
the fact that she's wearing pants at
Right.
the end.
She becomes more like adventurous and boots on
Yeah.
the ground kind of person.
I mean, she was like reading an adventure book and then she puts it down and then goes back to her magazine.
Yes. Yes.
So she
Yeah,
hasn't
it's-
lost all of herself.
It's interesting, and I think you're right. There's not a strong character arc for Jimmy Stewart, and also for her, really. I mean, there's more of an arc for her, but it's more of like, you got to change yourself kind of thing.
yeah, it's like that's what saved their relationship, is like this murder in a way, which is
Yeah.
kind of like, I guess that's cool. That's the plot, I guess.
Yes,
you know?
yeah.
You caught the bad guy.
Got the bad guy. It's hot. And so, I mean, we're at the point in this movie. We've met the nurse. We've met Lisa. He's kind of like, I mean, he's said it multiple times. He's bored. He's he wants to. He calls, I think, his editor like, "Can you just send me on something? Like, I can get up and down. Please, I need to get out of here."
Yeah.
So his way of escaping is to just become a voyeur to this apartment complex.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And so we have a lot of different scenes of him watching people live their lives. One that stands out to me is definitely the lonely woman who is having dinner with herself.
That's
Like
great.
she like sets dinner and then she goes to the door and answers it, and like she's having dinner with an invisible person.
It's in that depth of like loneliness. Is
Yeah.
great. It's,
She like pours the no person wine and
mhm.
And
like-
then like clink.
clinks to no one, and then just
See, that's what I think's the best parts of the movie almost, is those like side characters and everything, where if you think of the movie like Disturbia, where it's just that one person
Yes.
that he's like spying on. It's like clearly this murderer, and that's it. You know, it's like in this, it's not that he's just looking at the murderer. You get these other arcs of all these other people, and they're described so well in just these
Mhm.
brief moments. You just see like only like 20 seconds of their life, and you know everything about them and where they're at, and like and then you get to see their arc of like the guy struggling to like write a song, and then finally he does it, and it like changes lives. It inspires this woman not to kill herself.
Yeah.
And then it's like all his friends love it, and it gets like pressed to like an album. Yeah.
So incredible.
it's he shows you enough to really feel invested in all these characters.
Mhm.
But in the end, we don't really know anything about these people.
No.
Mhm.
I don't even know. I mean, I'm sure they said some of their names, but I don't know any of their names.
No.
I couldn't figure out anyone's name.
I wrote Cuckoo
Yeah.
Lady. I also wrote Newlyweds.
He starts to take like a special interest in his story
This man.
because we do see that man, gardening, and then he brings up breakfast to his wife with one of his flowers, like on the platter, like being kind of sweet. And we later learn that she's an invalid and like has to be taken care of like constantly.
She like also grabs the flower and just throws it at
Yeah,
him.
she like just kind of laughs at it and just like
Yeah.
Well, like, was there? What I was wondering is if they never went back to this. Is there's hinting that there's a second woman?
Yes.
Because when he brings her the flower and the breakfast, then he goes and he gets on the phone, and then she's like listening to the phone call, and then Grace Kelly had that suspicion too that there's another girl, but we never find that out.
no.
We never do.
We do see a woman leave the apartment, but we never know for sure who that is.
Yeah.
It was establishing kind of their tumultuous relationship because then they start screaming at each other, and the husband's like all pissed off.
There's a scream and then glass. When after Lisa left the first time after they had that argument about you should stay here, it's like, well, you can't stay here and I can't go with you. So what are we gonna do? And then she leaves.
She says goodbye. Don't you mean see you later?
And she's
I
like,
said what I
yeah,
meant. Goodbye.
Goodbye forever or until tomorrow night.
Tomorrow.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
yeah, because it was like this moment of like she realizes that he doesn't want to change anything about himself, and
She's
She's still hopelessly in love.
yeah,
you know?
she's like,
I hate you, but-
this isn't gonna be good. Like, I need to leave. Goodbye, or until tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Because I really, really like you. I don't know why.
I
There's
don't
also,
know why.
There's also
Yeah.
definitely something to their relationship being, because I don't think James Stewart is naturally gray at this point. I think they grayed his hair to make him look older, and she clearly looks young.
She looks young.
There's definitely this. There's something to that. The fact that he is older maybe has felt like he's lived a fuller life, but she's younger and she's more naive to the world.
Because they keep bringing up to him, when are you gonna get married?
Yes,
When
everyone
are you
else
gonna get married?
is like, "Yo,
He
dude,
can't handle it.
you need to see that she's hot, and you need to marry this chick."
That's it. Like, she's hot. Settle down. And then everybody else around him is settling down, or he has been settled down.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it looks like they're like 10 to 15 years difference.
It seems like that.
Because she looks like she's also like desperate to get married because she might be like 25 or 26.
I'm getting old.
I need
Yeah.
to marry.
So yeah, there's definitely something there as far as that, and she is hopelessly in love with him, and just
Also,
No matter,
Goodbye.
no matter what he says.
no matter what he
No
says, no
matter
matter how
what.
big of a dick he is,
Yeah.
goodbye until tomorrow.
yeah, they're both like, what?
He's just like, you invited yourself over tonight. You said that, you know?
Yeah.
It's just
That,
like-
I was just like, that on itself, I would have packed my little briefcase and been like, you know what?
it's like,
All right.
Yeah.
I'm your girlfriend. Yes, perhaps I should have told you, hey, can I stay over? But is it that much of a big deal? You are on your chair.
Yeah, you crippled, like, grumpy old man.
What the heck?
Grace Kelly
Yeah.
is saying she wants to stay over.
She brought a briefcase of lingerie.
Not in this scene. That's later.
No, I know.
Okay.
But still. Like, what?
I know. No,
No,
it's,
when he said it.
it's just very much like, come on, dude. Like, open your eyes. What the fuck?
You-
And so she leaves in that moment, and yes, that's when we have the crash and then scream.
Mhm.
And he kind of like, he hears it, but then
Disregards it.
disregards it, fade to black. And then this is when he wakes up in the middle of the night and he starts to see some sus activity from our man
Sis.
across the way. And he's like, he leaves for a little bit with a big suitcase, comes back.
He's wearing like also this like black nylon. Is it nylon?
the,
I don't know, it's black.
the
Man-like.
man.
Yeah.
The,
Just in
Suspicious.
suspicious garb.
and like
Spandex.
a bright yellow hat, though. It was like all black and then a bright yellow hat. Like-
Disgusting. No style there
No.
whatsoever.
And he leaves his apartment, comes back a couple times, and this is when James Stewart is like really starting to get like suspicious that like what's going on there, and he claims that it's because he's concerned about the woman, like, and her safety. Every time he says that, I'm like, you don't really.
No, you don't.
You're just chasing this like adrenaline thrill or
Yeah.
something. Like you're just chasing this dangerous feeling or whatever.
And this is the only time that we have the blinds drawn. Everybody, and because it's hot, we've established that.
Mhm.
So everybody's window is open. And until they have intimate moments, that's when they like draw the curtains. And in this instance, his curtains are drawn and he's coming in and out of the apartment like 3 times.
Yeah.
First at 11:05 or something like that. And then he doesn't come home until like 3 a.m. or
Mhm.
something like that.
And then leaves again, I
And
think.
leaves again.
Yeah.
He's coming back and forth.
Yeah, he's...
Still don't know what he's really doing if he
He
does
was-
murder her.
Yeah, it's like
Chopping
so,
her-
What was the chest? So is the chest
Right.
parts of the body? It's like he buried part of the body. Some was in the river, and then what was the freight? And then what was in the suitcase
Right.
that he washed?
I think where
is that
my
all
mind is
different?
going is, yeah, I think they're all different. In the chest, where there was ropes and stuff, I'm presuming it's a head. Because if there's a body in chopped up limbs, there's only so much you can identify, especially back then. You need to have a head to identify.
Yeah, it was dental records. That's what
Yeah,
they,
Mhm.
dental records, they didn't have, DNA like
they didn't have
fingerprints
fingerprints or anything.
back in the day. So I'm presuming he chopped her up. And in the suitcase, the only thing that's like big enough are limbs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I guess so.
He was transporting body parts through... yeah.
They
Yeah.
discussed this in the movie. They're like, he chopped her up in the bathroom, probably.
Yeah.
And then they
They
say it
weren't
all in
wrong.
about 20 seconds at the end, which I missed, I guess, that part. But
I did too, but
yeah, and the next day he's talking about, like, because the nurse comes over again, massaging him up with the aloe or whatever. It's like daily massage that he gets. And he's like talking, this is when he starts just obsessing about his theory. He's like, why would a man come in and out multiple times at 3 a.m? And the nurse is like, she's like, you shouldn't be watching, like, you're weird, like, stop being a voyeur. But throughout this movie, he starts to bring both the nurse and Grace Kelly into his
yeah.
weird voyeurism, because at the beginning they're both very much like, this is weird.
This is weird.
How much you're obsessing over this.
Look at how you are viewing other people.
Yeah.
You
He can't stop talking to the
fucking
nurse
creeps.
about it. He calls his detective friend about it. There's a scene where him and Grace Kelly are making out, and in between the kisses, he's talking about it.
Yeah.
Like, he's really just...
Yeah, and everyone else thinks it's the obvious thing in his life, which is like you're avoiding getting married, like trying to get married,
Mhm.
and it's like, oh, you don't have. It's like you're out of work and you should get married, and it's like it's clearly these other problems. Why it's like
You're just avoiding.
You're avoiding.
And
Yeah.
also, it's very interesting to have this young, beautiful ballet dancer who's dancing usually in her
Yeah,
like
mostly naked.
undergarments,
Mhm.
but yet we do get shots of her dancing and stuff. But then he's more concerned what's happening next door in this like murder, like
Yeah, there's a-
mystery.
I
They're
love
right
the
next to
shot
each
where
other.
it's like you can see that she's in the bathroom, and then you have the murderer coming into his apartment
Yeah.
at the
He
same
just
time.
blows past her in the bathroom and
And it's
just...
like, yeah, you have the choice of like, all right, which one's
Yeah.
more interesting here?
Yeah.
And as far as we can tell, he is interested in her beauty and her story, but like that is not what's keeping him up at night. Except for that one night that she doesn't come home, and he was like, "Oh shit, like, is everybody okay?"
Yeah.
Because now like he's following this, and then he's like, "Oh shit, she's not coming home." And that's the only time that I feel like he was truly invested
Yeah.
in furthering her story, but then he's just like totally drawn over here.
Well, it's an exact reflection of what's going on in his life. He has a beautiful blonde that wants him and it desires him so bad, but all he is thinking about is his own work and his own adventure and vanity, which is exactly what's happening. He's not watching this beautiful blonde dancer and just immediately going to the danger and the dark side.
She has to join his adventure.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, yeah, like she has to join his arc instead of like he's not going to join hers,
Mm-hmm.
which is like, okay, I guess.
Yeah. I feel like
Because he doesn't give it up.
Because he doesn't give it up. At
He
the
doesn't
end.
give
It's
it
like
up.
he's not like, oh, okay. Yeah,
No,
I'm
he's
I
like
accept.
happily
Even with
sleeping
two
with
broken
two
legs.
broken
Yeah.
legs. I feel like if this movie were to be happening right now and getting casted, I feel like the dancer would be played by Robbie.
Margot Robbie.
Yes,
Mm.
Margot Robbie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like. Yeah.
Dope.
Who's Grace Kelly?
I don't know. I feel like Margot Robbie could be a good Grace Kelly too, though.
She would, but I think the reason why I'm casting her as the ballet dancer is because of her spirit and character in Once Upon a in
Kind
Hollywood.
of that kind of similar thing where we don't even ever like follow her story. We're kind of just like watching her story happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm like casting her there.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Ana de Armas maybe for Grace Kelly's character.
Oh, that's interesting.
Or no, who's a blonde?
It's gotta be
Who's a
like
blonde?
it's gotta be like a.
We can dye her.
Why I like
Yeah.
Margot Robbie is because like she's clearly like beautiful, but she also has like that like spirit, like you were saying, that Grace Kelly has in the end.
Our
where
producer's getting upset.
Well, the producer here knows how my
Yeah.
feelings on Margot Robbie. But anyway,
Well, James Stewart would be definitely George Clooney.
oh yeah.
I kept calling him George Clooney because that's the only person that I can really see.
And Bradley Cooper as the detective friend.
The detective friend.
He's just like an asshole. Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. In this,
I could see
we should get to him because like in this, like, so James Stewart is just getting more and more wrapped into the story, and he does eventually convince Grace Kelly that there is something going on.
because something happens that night. Oh, he's packing. He rolled up the mattress,
Yes.
and then he has that chest.
Yes. And he's packing up all
is
of
the
her
bed
laundry.
in the chest?
There's
could be.
no way.
It could be.
That? Is that
If it
because
was,
it
like,
might
wrapped
have blood
up.
or anything?
The mattress can't fit in that chest.
Yeah, maybe not.
No,
It was a big
but there was
chest,
a
though.
little bit of blood. I don't know if you guys saw it, but
Oh,
there was
He
like
scrubbed the walls. He scrubbed like the
Yeah.
bathroom and everything.
it kind of also looks like he did send the wife to this train, and then he's just cleaning up because they might leave. He might be renting the space.
I mean, what is good about how they reveal the information to us is pretty much how it's revealed to James Stewart, where, yeah, we never saw a murder happen. We never saw, for the most part, never saw blood. Or if we did, it could be explained away. We just saw him packing away knives, but nothing that we've seen really hardcore implicates him. But James Stewart is just like, he's on a warpath of like, this is what's happening. This guy's killed his wife. And so he calls his, I think they say later that they were friends in the war. He's a detective.
They were in the war.
We were in the war.
Mm.
And he's a detective, and he pretty much calls in a favor of like, hey, can you come over here and like check this out? Things are weird. And the detective this whole time is just like, he even says, it's too obvious.
Yeah,
It's too, like, a murderer would do this all in front of their window?
windows wide open.
Really? No
doing
way. It's
super
too-
suspicious stuff the whole time.
Yeah.
Kills a dog.
That's too obvious. But his detective friend reluctantly does say, I'll look into some things, I'll see what I can do, but he's very dismissive about pretty much everything that James Stewart is talking about. He doesn't care, really.
What do you think about Norm Macdonald as the nurse?
Oh my god. Yeah, listen, man.
Also,
You're going crazy, man.
No, not Norm Macdonald.
Oh, wow,
Oh,
okay.
God. McDermott. What's
Francis
his-
McDermott?
Francis McDermott.
I could
said
definitely
Norm
see that.
Macdonald.
Norm Macdonald. That's an interesting cast, Norm Macdonald. Well, you're crazy,
I was like,
James.
what?
Also, to bring it back to the nurse giving him massages every single day, this man presumably has not showered, so she keeps lathering him in lotions
Mhm.
and oils.
He's greasy. for
He-
sure.
He's greasy this entire
He
film.
must have a bag full of acne by now because he's not washing anything off. Anyways, by the way.
Again, why is she with him?
Why is she
Broken
he's
legs. He's greasy. He's
oily,
bitter.
yeah.
He's grayed hair.
He hasn't gone to the bathroom.
He goes to the bathroom in his pants.
Yeah.
He smells terrible.
His cast is all the way
I know. I don't know how he goes to the bathroom.
He does it.
Not, yeah, I don't know. Grace
just-
Kelly, know yourself.
Yeah.
What if what if the cast is around everything is just
It
like
looked-
a
it
hole
looked
for
like
the
it.
penis and then a
Yeah.
hole for the butthole? Just
Small
like-
holes, yeah, just big enough. Not quite big enough. Shoot.
not big enough.
Oh man, why are you with him?
Yeah.
Why are you with
Why?
him, Grace Kelly? I don't
Leave
get
him.
it. And so now we get, now we're back.
Now we're back. Where are we?
Where are we? James is getting more sus, and we're seeing more suspicious things from the man. Another super sad scene happens where it's the lonely woman who actually goes on a date, and we're like, oh, okay, it's not just like a fake person. She actually goes on the date.
Yeah. She
It
like
gets even sadder.
It gets
You
even
didn't
sadder.
think it could get any more sad.
No.
You're like,
And it
oh,
does.
This is
Yeah, because
Oh.
she brings her date back, and he immediately tries to fucking rape her in her apartment.
well, because also I think what he thought is like, hey, we're gonna bang. You're like giving me alcohol. You invited me over to your house, and then he's like, let's get down to it. And she's like, no. And I'm presuming that she might have lost her partner at some point because she looks a little
that's
bit
what
older
I was
too.
looking for. Is
Mhm.
like a photograph or something.
Yeah,
There's no
I
indication.
think her mannerisms were just like, you know, because back in the day, if you're like an older lady and also like living by yourself, that's rare.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's rare. So then,
And she wanted like a nice conversation too. It was like she
Yeah.
just wanted like a dinner to talk to somebody.
no, but
Mhm.
this man
It's
is
like-
younger and he was like, let's fuck.
Let's do this.
And then, yeah,
And slaps him and gets him out of there, and then
Yeah.
she's just, I mean, yeah.
And he's like confused. Why?
What the hell?
I thought you wanted
what
to
the hell
fuck
you
me.
want? Oh, fucking crazy lady. It's so sad. Just
Yeah.
sad. And then, meanwhile, that's horrible stories going on. But James is more focused on the man packing up things in his room. He's like packing up his entire room, laying out all his stuff on his bed. Grace Kelly shows up, and this is when she notices that her purse is left behind. And because of her female intuition, as she says, she knows that no woman, not a single woman, would ever go anywhere without her purse.
it might not be
and
a
her
woman
makeup
then.
And jewelry.
And her jewelry.
And the most
And her ring.
important thing is the wedding band.
Yep.
Yes.
Why was she?
They put a lot of significance on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, at one point,
That's
the
it.
nurse is like, "You're gonna have to chop my finger off in order
Yeah,
to get this
exactly.
damn thing off."
She's so old school.
So
Yeah.
old school. She's like,
Her
that's like,
fingers are probably swollen. That
Yeah.
she's literally like, I haven't been able to take this off for 20 years.
it's in my skin.
It's
fused with me.
Ugh.
And that's, I mean, it essentially, the wedding ring kind of becomes the smoking gun to them at this point. Like, that is the main piece of evidence that why would she go anywhere without her ring?
Yeah.
Where is she?
Yeah.
And
why would he have just like a bag of her stuff too? With like
Right. Why is he
why would
packing-
he have her purse?
yeah,
Mhm.
why is he packing away her things?
And the only things that are in there are just like 3 pieces of jewelry, like necklaces, and then her wedding bands.
No wallet.
No
No wallet.
wallet,
No wallet.
no lipstick,
Nope.
nothing.
That's it. She's
No.
dead. She's dead.
Yeah, she's dead.
Ah, Grace Kelly at this point is in. I feel like
Yeah.
James Stewart has like pulled her fully into this obsession about
Well,
these people.
they also see the cleaning people coming over. There's
Yes,
these 2 guys in like paperboy hats and just like coming over. Oh,
They get rid
it
of the
was a
crate
big
guys.
chest.
Yes.
You're right. It was where the mattress at. I just full on went like chopped limbs.
could have been some in there too. I mean, if he's chopping it up, he's trying to put them in different spots. You know.
That's true.
Yeah, because they have seen some pretty suspicious things. They both have seen some pretty suspicious
Yeah.
things that this guy's doing over there.
It's pretty obvious.
And she even goes as far as like suggests like, oh, maybe that woman that was seen leaving with him that night wasn't his wife. No one said that it was his wife. It was just a woman leaving. Maybe that was the other woman. So she's like throwing in theories. Like she's fully convinced that he's a murderer too. this is another kind of interesting scene where the piano man starts playing, which I love that the piano guy is providing the music of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Every time the music is playing,
Was there any music in the movie?
I think it was just the piano guy.
It was that.
It's the
it?
piano
Like, I
guy and
can't
the
remember.
whistling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's
then-
At the beginning credits, yes, but once the movie started, I think it was
it
just
was
the
just the
piano.
piano.
City sounds.
Yeah.
And the city sounds.
City
Yeah, that's
sounds,
crazy.
party sounds, the piano, the whistling.
Honk, honk. Yeah, it was just atmospheric music of him
Which
playing
is
in the background.
so city-like.
Yeah.
He is so great at filling the space and making us believe we're actually there.
hmm
Which is great.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Every time he starts playing.
Yeah, because I wrote that down somewhere.
And she starts talking about how she wishes she was creative. She's like admiring this pianist for making a song, and she wishes that she was creative like him. And then James Stewart pokes fun at her and is like, "You are creative. You're creative at coming up with situations that get messy or something."
It's creating problems.
difficult situations.
Yeah.
That's what it says.
Like you
What are
staying
you
here
doing
tonight.
What are you doing right now, James?
Yeah.
You're like putting paranoia in everyone's head, making a very difficult situation for everybody.
Yeah.
His situation that he was describing about her is her staying over. That was
Yes.
the only one that he was like, yeah.
Yeah.
But
'cause-
yeah, he is inserting paranoia to everybody.
Yes. Yeah, because she just wants to stay over and show off her lingerie with him, but he's very old school and you're making problems. What will the neighbors say?
Oh yeah, because
What will
they're
they
not
say?
married.
Yeah, they're not
and blah,
married.
blah, blah,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
There's only one bed, and she's like, "I don't give a fuck."
Let me slip into something more comfortable. And then she goes off, and that's when the detective shows up. Really interesting moment when
Oh.
he shows up. They don't talk for a minute.
Well, because
Yeah.
he sees a briefcase of lingerie, so he knows there's somebody over, and then she
Yeah.
starts humming. She's like serving brandy. Remember?
Mhm. Yes.
Brandy.
And
That was such a distracting scene. For me.
Yeah, literally,
Like, they
they're
were
just like
sitting there
this.
like, I was like, somebody drink it already. no,
I
one
know,
would
it
drink
needs to
it.
be warm. It needs to
it
oxidize.
really needs to warm up.
And then he just spills it all over himself.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well,
An idiot.
this scene is pretty much him coming over to be like, you guys are idiots. You guys, I've checked out all the leads. She got on the train. People saw her leaving. What do you think it is?
But you know who's the idiot? The person who fucking tries to chug it
Yep.
on a like a
Big coupe glass.
he
Coupe
doesn't know
glass.
what he's doing. He's a fuck up. He doesn't know what he's doing. It's symbolism for that, I guess.
Yes.
yeah.
It's just like, yeah, this guy sucks.
He's used to just like chugging it like this.
It's like he acts like he knows what he's doing, but
Yeah.
he doesn't.
He does, and that is what's kind of happening throughout this whole movie. He spills on himself, makes a fool of himself,
Yeah.
and in the end,
And
he
they're
does make a
like-
fool of himself.
Yeah, and he like comments on his like investigating too. He's just like, you didn't ask about this or this or like. He
Yeah, you
seems like
have-
he's not a good detective at all. Like,
You haven't checked the bank statements, which is very important to do.
You got no witnesses.
No witnesses, except for him, for our main guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
He didn't really do anything.
he didn't really do anything.
True, but
Yeah.
yeah, like he didn't even take pictures. He was looking through the fucking lens of the fucking camera, and he never took any
Never took
pictures.
photos. Yeah,
Never took
That's
pictures,
what's-
which was
What a
odd.
great photographer!
yeah.
What, run out of
He
film?
would have had so much evidence.
So much. Anyway,
Doesn't know how to build a case, I guess.
I guess he's not a good detective either.
Yeah.
And the detective, leaves there with them being like, he pretty much says, if you want my services again, look up in the yellow pages for someone else. He's
Yeah.
pretty much like, don't call me, fuck you, bye.
Yeah, it just leaves.
Doesn't even drink all the brandy. Like,
He also insulted Lisa so bad.
oh, yeah.
He kept like saying like, "Oh yeah, your feminine like intuition
Yeah.
I think, too,
is
because...
it only works in magazines,
Yes.
not
Yeah,
here."
Feminine psychology. Says something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
But I
It's
mean-
he's mocking them.
Ugh, still but also goddamn.
Not a cool dude.
Shut
And
up.
the detective leaves, and he kind of just, like, leaves them doubting themselves. This is, like, I feel like the first moment where James
Oh,
Stewart
yeah.
is, like... They
Is
call
it
it
ethical?
they call it rear window ethics. Like, is this, like, okay what we're doing? Even if he is innocent, even if that man is innocent, is it okay what we're doing just because we're concerned about this lady?
Also,
Mhm.
even if he's a murderer, is it still ethical to be
Right.
Yeah.
Because they are inserting themselves in this guy's life
Yeah.
without his
Because
knowing.
what the detective mentioned is you are just seeing snapshots of these people's lives. And you fell asleep and she could have walked out, you know? And then now you're getting all these like little stories here and there of what he's doing, making judgments, and you don't know the full picture.
Mhm.
You're not there. You're literally out here.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And they really start to question that. They really start to be like, shit, like, is what we're doing, is this okay? And it's interesting how that scene ends because she closes the blinds. This is one of the few times that we see those blinds closing in his apartment. She's like, the show's over for tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Closing the blinds.
I'll show you something.
And it's a preview of what's to come.
And then the dog dies right after.
Alright.
They shut the blinds, and then it's like, ah!
Yep.
And they missed that whole part.
Yeah, because they hear the scream, and then it's like everybody in the apartment complex comes out.
Because everybody's occupied. So the young couple has always had their blinds down.
Mhm.
There's a party going on.
There's a party, a huge party.
Huge party at the penis
The sculpture
place.
lady, I don't know where she's at.
Showing.
The ballet lady, she's practicing. Is this when she's practicing for a piece?
Yeah, I feel like this is at night. Everyone's like kind of asleep, coming out, like kind of waking up.
There is just that party scene.
Yes, this is a party scene, and they all hear it too. They come out on their balcony. Everyone's out on their balconies, looking down into the center of the complex, and it's the dead dog. And it's a lonely woman who like screams out, "It's dead! Its neck is broke!" And then the dog.
Somebody strangled it because his neck is broke.
And then she just roasts all her neighbors. It's
Yes.
just like, none of you care. Fuck all of you.
Yeah,
Like,
the dog owner is like, "Who could do this? I thought we were neighbors."
This is not neighborly. You don't know what a neighbor is. We don't even talk to each other. And then she like puts it in the basket.
Yeah, the little elevator up to
Oh no.
by dog.
Yikes.
But that then I think reignites the suspicion on James Stewart and Grace Kelly's part. They're like, wait a second. That dog was messing with the flowers.
yeah, that
That's
reignites it
suspicious.
because the guy left, and then they're just like, oh, it's hopeless. Like,
Yeah.
we're stupid. And then when that happens, it like reignites the whole case.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we were right.
Because
Yeah.
everybody else came out and was concerned,
Yes.
and he was. Oh, I'm like pointing straight at
Didn't
you.
care.
You.
He was in there, like you mentioned, smoking a cigar. I was like, was he there? And you're like, yeah, he was smoking the cigar.
Mhm.
There was a light there. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, you
Why
know
did I
he's-
think that was a, like, clock or something?
Mhm.
It's weird, yeah. The film is like so much of like a play effort. Like there's not much suspense until the very end.
Pretty much.
Mhm.
It's like you're more just like claustrophobic, and then it's like a film about this relationship. Like the whole time, like they're both conceited against one another in a way, and then not until like the last like 20 minutes is it's like, oh, now it's a suspense like thriller, because the rest of the time it's just kind of like it could just be this guy avoiding his like fact that he doesn't want to get married.
Right.
That's,
It could be that the whole time.
That's the movie for like an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, it's perfect for George Clooney because he didn't get married until, like, he was in his 50s.
It's true.
Because it could have been like there is no murder, and then like there could have been an arc about like their whole relationship. You know, it's like did that save it, or like if there would have been some other like I guess conclusion to like why they should stay together. You
Yeah.
know, it's like it's like, but there wasn't. It's just about they just got to work together on like a murder case.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, how do we complement each other almost?
Yeah.
But they don't really go far enough, I don't think. Because what I thought was going to happen is we've been focusing on this one guy this whole time, and we have all these other windows with their own stories. I thought suddenly we were going to realize the murder happened like at the newlyweds place, or like the sculptor. Like, I thought it was going to be someone completely different, and that guy was just some sort of innocent. It was all a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's packing things because he no longer wants to live there.
Right, he's moving.
Yeah.
He's moving
And
out
his
of the
wife
city.
did leave early, and you know all this kind of stuff.
Mhm.
But no, we
No.
pretty much just track on the same course that we go, and pretty much this last part of the movie all is happening within one night, because they're now suspicious again, and they come up with this plan to
To
scare him.
Yeah.
And James Stewart writes this note, "I know what you did to her."
Yeah.
And then Grace Kelly, his legs, goes and delivers the note, and they just
She
want
was very excited.
Yeah, they just want to see his reaction. And he kind of reacts like, And she comes busting through the door like, what was his reaction?
Yeah.
What did he look like? Yeah, she's got like this crazy adrenaline rush.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
right.
that is when he realized, like, oh shit, this relationship might work.
Yeah,
he, like, looks at her like-
there's like he gets
Yeah.
his own shot of like, okay.
His eyes sparkle, and he's like, yeah.
Yeah, baby. You feel that? You feel the danger?
You feel that? That is
Fucking
why.
feel it.
That is what I take pictures of.
Yeah. And then they watch the guy continue to pack up, and James Stewart is like getting off on this shit. He's like, let's see if we can scare him anymore.
Yeah.
Hello.
Because they want to go down and dig up some of those flowers. They they suspect that he might have buried something in the flowers. And so James Stewart is like, we're going to get him this time. And he calls him. He's like, did you get my note? Who the fuck is this? And he's like, I know the truth about you, and if you want something back, or I don't know how he gets him out of his apartment. He's like, meet me at the hotel bar, whatever.
Yeah.
Gets him out of the apartment. That then gives the nurse and Grace Kelly an opportunity to go to the backyard and start digging up the flowers.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when the tension really starts to build, because I do like
it changes up.
we have this like unknown time clock of him returning, and it just makes that like, when is he going to come back? When is he going to come back? They can't find anything though in the flower bed, and immediately Grace Kelly's like, well, we're going to the apartment then. She climbs up in those heels and scales the fucking
And her
wall.
dress.
And takes her damn time too. And
Yeah.
she's up
Yeah.
there, she's like, nothing in this
She's like,
bag. What's in this drawer?
She's like, wow, they should decorate in here.
He's like over there sweating.
Yeah.
Get out of there. I mean, I was on the couch, and I was just like, get out of there.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
The killer does return when she's in his apartment, and she's able to get the wedding ring. She like wears her wedding ring to like slip it out of there as the police show up. Grace Kelly's wearing the wedding ring, and then the
Because
guy
she's going, like,
sees that she's wearing the wedding ring, and then follows it back to James Stewart.
Yeah.
And that's the first time that he actually sees and looks over at James
There's an
Stewart.
apartment over there?
Oh, I didn't even know there was a whole building
Holy
back there.
crap.
I thought it was just a black void over there. this whole
Also,
time.
he has the biggest lens ever. Like, how did he not see that
Yeah.
reflection?
That was like a Naked Gun joke.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
we need to get closer.
yeah.
Literally, little stand.
It's like on a camera this big, and then like the lens is like
Massive.
that long.
Massive.
Luckily, nothing happened to her though, because he turned like the neighbor turns off the lights and he starts like strangling
Yeah,
her
he
and
starts
fighting
to
with her.
like throw her around, and just in time the police show up. Because, by the way, they called the police because the lonely woman, was about to kill herself. That's a whole thing that they're building through this whole time too. Is she's got a shit ton of pills. She's like laying them
Sleeping
out.
pills too.
She's writing a suicide note. And they're like, "What's going on down there?" Huh? I guess she's fine. And it's not until she's about to take the pills that
The nurse.
they're like, "Oh my God, she's gonna kill herself! Call the police!" And so they call the police.
And that guy starts playing music.
And the piano man starts to
it's
play
like-
the music.
And so he ties in like all the
And the-
storylines there. Which
Yeah,
is
and
great.
she like kind of
Yeah.
she stops the act of killing herself because she hears the music, hears his beautiful song, but he,
Yeah.
I guess, probably just finished.
Yeah, it's like she gets saved, and there's like an arc for the piano player.
Yeah.
like all in one. It's
Yeah,
like
because the
everything-
whole time
like
we're
one
seeing the
shot.
piano player. He's obviously working on the song, but he's also surrounded by young, beautiful women.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't seem satisfied still. And then in the end, he ends up with this older woman, and he's super happy with her. So, like, yeah, it's kind of like we're seeing both their unsatisfied lives come together to then become satisfied.
It seems also he is surrounded by all these people that just want to be with him just because of who he is,
Mhm.
and they're not admiring the creation that he's done, and she is taking the time to see that first.
Yeah,
'Cause it saved her.
He's definitely like probably the richest person, right? He's the biggest apartment. It's like pretty large.
Amazing.
Look at those
window.
windows.
Yeah,
amazing window.
And so,
Oh,
And a music room in his apartment.
yeah.
Amazing.
windows.
Amazing.
Rear window.
So that's great. Luckily, no suicide. But
Yeah.
the police are showing up too, luckily, at that moment.
But he doesn't guide her toward the police towards her or to her door.
No.
He's like presuming that Lisa will get strangled.
Which, good call. Because he was starting to
yes.
thrash her around.
Mm-hmm.
And then the police intervene. She's taken away. But my man knows James Stewart's over there. And he leaves his apartment.
Yeah, why wasn't he arrested at all either? It's like, I guess it was just like she broke in this like
Yes. Because
Yeah.
burglary.
Like, why would this woman be like in his apartment like that? Yeah,
Because she doesn't give him up. She doesn't say, like, he's a murderer. I have the evidence on my finger right now.
Yeah,
Which makes sense.
That's-
and it's
I
like,
mean-
all right, let this guy go.
He's fine.
And it was like she was screaming, and like he's about to murder. Like he's the worst murderer of all time. He's,
Worst
like,
murderer of all time.
He's got an open window, and he's murdering a woman screaming. And then the next second, he's like, instead of strangling a crippled guy, he's like throwing him out of a window, like holding his legs out.
He just
For
trying to make the most
everybody
public,
to
yeah.
see.
most public murders
Yeah.
that you could possibly imagine. This guy sucks at murder.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then he comes over to James Stewart's apartment and he's like, he just comes into his apartment,
Yeah.
like, what do you want from me? And immediately
Stomps
just
up there too.
Yeah.
Oh, here
Yeah.
I come.
He asked
I'm
him,
the
like,
bad guy. And this last final showdown, James Stewart is like trying to flash him with the light to
What
blind
the
him.
fuck? Yeah, like, and he only has like 4.
4 flashes. What was his plan? Like, flash him and then what?
Nothing, and
And
that's
then what?
it.
He'll give up? He'll turn around? No.
Blind him and yell. That's all. That's all
Yeah.
I could do.
That's all he can do.
Honestly, first of all, this guy made himself so much more crippled than he was. Yes, I get it. Your leg is broken, but at that moment, I would have stood up, and no matter how fucking painful it would have been, locked my door.
Yeah.
So then this man doesn't come in, and then I
Come
call
on,
You're-
911.
Your life's on the line. Like,
Yeah.
you can go
Do
through a little bit of pain.
Yeah.
anything.
I'm sure it's fine. I'll be
Again,
fine.
Because he's like, screw it. Just let him
Fuck
come
it.
through. I
Yeah.
got this flash.
I got 4 bulbs. That's all I need. Yeah, because his plan, I guess, is just flash him until the police come back.
why were they gonna come back?
Well,
though?
because I think at one point he called the detective and was like, I need you to come over here.
Oh yeah, when he was whispering.
Because
Yeah.
he's like, she's got the wedding ring to like prove it.
Yes.
I guess.
Yeah, so he calls the detective before the guy comes into his apartment. So he knows he's on his way, and he's just trying to buy time, I guess, by flashing this guy in the face. And right before he's like starts to strangle him, the police do show up, and he's like, hey, over here! But then, yeah, the worst killer in the world throws this cripple man out the window. Luckily, they save him in the last minute.
Oh.
And then, again, adding to his resume of the worst killers,
He was just on the second floor.
Yeah,
he
he's-
would have been fine.
he would have been fine. And then again, adding to how bad of a killer this guy is, apparently immediately when the police come into the apartment, he just confesses everything. He's
Yeah.
like, I'll take you to where I dumped the body.
Yeah.
I put the head in the garden, but then moved it a couple days later. In like 10 seconds, he says
So
everything. And the cop is like, yeah, he just confessed to all this stuff. Blah, 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 like out the
Great
window.
job. Wait, did he say that he had put the head in
He says that he,
something?
about burying something in the,
But then the
garden,
dog
but
got
then-
too suspicious
Yeah.
or whatever.
and so he moved it later. That's why
Like
they
if the
couldn't
dog
find
can talk, hey, by the way, like, this great nose, there's a head in
it.
there.
It smelled terrible. Killer confessed, killer, and this is the first time that we've left James Stewart apartment this whole movie.
Mhm.
When he falls into the courtyard and into the arms of Grace Kelly. Oh, I guess we've solved it.
Want to get married?
I guess we should do this now. And nothing left. And then, really, the last thing that happens is almost how the movie started. We're going around. It's day at the apartment complex. We're going around. We're seeing the piano player and the lonely woman coming together. We're seeing the dancer. Her boyfriend is returning, I guess, from war. And he's like a foot shorter than she is.
The dopiest looking person, but she's so excited that he's there.
And then we see the newlyweds, and the husband's like still frustrated that he's now a married man.
Yeah.
He just wants to be left alone already.
That is fucking cruel.
Yeah. Not starting off well.
We're not that bad.
And then
Jesus Christ.
we just moved in like 5 days ago. And then
and you're already tired of me?
Yeah. Harry. And then we end with James Stewart. Not one broken leg, but 2 broken legs now. Double recovery time. And then we continue panning, and Grace Kelly is there.
Wearing pants a blouse.
Reading her adventure magazine. But, quickly changes over to her fashion magazine, because it's still Grace Kelly.
Absolutely.
Come on, it's still Grace Kelly. Yeah. All right, that's it.
Yeah.
And that's Rear Window.
Amazing.
Wow. It's interesting. I like that we watched Psycho. You didn't see it as recently as we did. We watched it 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
That was 6 years after this. Obviously, very. They're both very Alfred Hitchcock-y movies. You can see the similarities through the meticulousness of the films and how everything is thought out. But also, both very different kind of movies.
Mm-hmm.
And that stuff is so fictional too. It's so it's so fake, but so kind of believable.
Based on real.
It's like
events.
Like think of did you see The Birds?
Yes.
It's like that whole premise is just so wild. It's like she met this guy in a bird shop, and now she's like follows him back to like his hometown and
right.
stuff.
And they keep attacking her.
It's just like it's like whimsical, but like what? Like
the birds.
Such a strange premise, and like this too. It's
I can't. The birds. Oh
birds.
My god! It was hilarious.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Anyways,
let's get to some Smash Pumpkins.
Smash Pumpkins.
Out of 5 Smash Pumpkins, what are you thinking, Michael, as far as Rear Window, 1954?
Overall, I really enjoyed it. I think it's a good film. I don't have many complaints. I think I can like overanalyze it for sure.
You can do that here.
I can. Yeah, it's like I don't know. It's like at first, I want to give it like 3.5, but I don't have too many complaints. So it's like I could give it 4 just because it's like that. I know that era of like filmmaking, and it's like that had to be really good for that like time period. Like when it came out, the context of it, pretty solid film all around, and it like holds up to this day. So yeah, I think I might give it. I'll give it 3.8.
3.8 right there.
I'm gonna rate it just a star above, just because.
3.9?
Nope, a star, a whole star.
Oh,
So
4.8.
4.8.
Whoa, 4.8.
I think it was just really fun, and I do really appreciate this kind of like theatrical sense of the movie. But also I think just based on the script a little bit, I wish it could have had like maybe the bad guy been somebody else, just kind of a little bit of a twist. But all above like everything else, just the whole
The
sets and the lives of other people, that in itself was just very beautiful. And it did a really great job to incorporate other stories without it being so convoluted.
Yes.
So yeah, that's why I'm rating it so high.
Nice.
Yeah. Theatrical performance of it.
Yeah.
It's great.
Great.
And it is unique, or it's like it is just in one sort of big set the whole time. And so it's very unique in that sense.
Yes.
So.
And I think it did so sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay, I'll go. I think it does a better job at doing that kind of like theatrical world better than a lot of the like movies that now we're adapting from musicals. And then having like a because I can't think of another besides Shakespeare stuff, but I don't like seeing theater plays and made as movies. I think it's sometimes very cheesy.
The golden era of like films.
Yeah.
They're very staged and,
Mhm.
and fake sets and harsh lighting, like unrealistic lighting.
Absolutely.
Everyone's got perfect like hair light all the time. Everyone's perfect makeup.
Oh, the hair
Yeah.
doesn't move.
Oh yeah.
Like wow.
What I was gonna say is you don't really see movies being made like this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It is that like that golden era. It's
the frame within frames of every single shot
Mhm.
is like so impressive. It's just so much symmetry
Yeah.
into that movie.
And I like that negative space. We're not getting a whole big picture, because it's realistic to not be able to see the whole picture if we're peering through people's fucking windows.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
and that is I think that is the point of this movie is, like I said at the beginning, it's having obscured and skewed perspective on people, the people around you, and also on yourself. That's the point of this movie, I think. And I think I agree with everything that both of you are saying. I think that you don't, even at this time, though it has that kind of 50, 60 feel to a movie, I've never seen a movie like this where we are in one room and looking out at a bunch of different things the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Typically you have like a cutout, like a cutaway, but that never happened in this movie, and I really appreciated them for that. And it made feelings of claustrophobia and really made you feel trapped like James Stewart's supposed to. And so I absolutely love the filmmaking and the attention to detail and the storytelling through no words of just watching, of us watching this and him watching people. One main complaint is kind of what you were talking about, is script to me was not as strong. You talked about the arcs of the characters. I don't think there was an arc of James Stewart character at all.
Because I feel like that, like
Not at all.
it was like you said, the point of the movie where it's like I felt like that kind of the point was like, oh, you should appreciate what's in front of you
Mhm.
instead of like always looking out to see what else is out there, like what else can entertain me, and to focus on like the people, like the person that cares about you the most.
Yes.
Kind of that, I guess, was like the point of it. But I think my complaint is his reasoning for appreciating what's in front of him.
Right.
That was like what was kind of like a little off. It's like, unless the girl's dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
It wasn't
you know.
a strong, it didn't feel like a strong motivation for him to realize that, or it didn't it didn't feel genuine, really. Or it coming from an emotional place. It came from like this exciting adrenaline, which I didn't really like. I liked her character a lot. I thought her catharsis was much stronger than his was, but her catharsis was based on pleasing him and jumping into his life rather than him meeting her halfway.
Appreciating what she brings to the table, what she likes.
Yes, there was very little meeting halfway.
Yeah.
I wish that was a little stronger, and I feel like they could have had a moment of that, but things very much wrapped up quickly. And I am going to give this movie a 4 for that reason, because I mean it's a fantastic film. It was entertaining the whole time. I wasn't bored at all during it, and the ability to track so many stories at the same time was amazing.
I'm gonna go back a little bit and just say 4.5.
Oh wow!
Yes, I totally forgot. There's no story arc to our main fucking character, and
that was the weakest part of it.
It was,
to me. And
you know what?
I feel like something that was fixable. Like they could have done better.
I'm glad he broke both of his legs. Maybe this time he'll fucking learn.
Yeah, deserve it.
Yep. Now he's really stuck with her. So there you go. All right, Rear Window, 1954.
Yeah.
Fun one. So how we always end the podcast is picking the movie for our next week, which, Michael, you have the honors of doing.
Yeah.
Dig in there, really find one that speaks to you. A lot of different stuff in there. It's always an exciting part of the...
Yum, yum. And then you get to eat it. No, I'm just
then you
kidding.
get to eat it. So read the log line first for the drama, and then we'll see what we get.
A widower takes an offer to screen girls at a special audition, arranged for him by a friend to find him a new wife.
Oh no.
The one he fancies is not who she appears to be after all.
Oh yeah, this is a tough one. This is a tough one.
This is a tough
Is
one.
it Audition?
1999's Audition.
Korean film, right? Or it might be Japanese.
A widower takes
It's gonna be pretty brutal.
to screen
Brutal.
girls at a special
Yes.
audition.
Brutal.
This is gonna be
No.
brutal. Yep. All right. Dark. Dark.
I
dark.
don't know what. Is there going to be
We're
a
going-
lot of rape? Like, is there going to be a lot of dismembering? Like, oh no.
What it-
Just
Wait,
think Crazy
so-
Girlfriend. Just think Crazy Girlfriend.
Okay.
Well, thank you again for coming on, Michael, and joining us looking through the rear window. Please plug yourself.
Well, thanks for having me on, guys. I enjoyed the movie a lot,
Yeah.
and I like this podcast a lot,
Oh,
and the
thanks.
show. I guess my plug is my Instagram's Mike TV, and I make little music videos and visuals and little films.
Yeah.
So
Yay!
that's the kind of stuff I do. So
Oh yeah, Mike
check
TV.
it out.
Check it out.
Watch it.
You can follow me at Color Me Leslie on Instagram.
And me at Beat Beat Britchie T, and also the Deadlights Pod. That's us on Instagram. Also check out Playground Social, which is
Yeah.
the studio that we are recording this at.
Yes.
But until next time, let's get spooky, y'all.
Yeah.
Looking through the rear window.
Ah, don't look at me. I like it.
That guy's murdering somebody.